Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Satan and Coffee. It's been a little bit. It's been oh boy, it's been. I mean, I don't think we've done an episode since last Wednesday, so it has been a week since we've done an episode. There's been ridiculous amounts of construction happening in the house. Done now. It's over. So we're good. There's no more construction. There's no more loud noises. I found it rather impossible to focus and pay attention with floor being ripped up and drills going off and oh my goodness. Black coffee indeed, right? Well, it is though. Disciple. Uh, Hi, hello. Um, it is pumpkin spice season and I have pumpkin spice coffee in the pumpkin mug. Dyra's not very happy about this mug. It throws off the kitchen aesthetic, but um, ah, I love me some Halloween theme shit. So, ah, oh, it's so good. It's so good. So they are selling pumpkin spice creamer again in the stores. Tis the season, and I'm taking full advantage. I love me some pumpkin spice. Also, I got some of these little guys. These little guys are so fucking cool. I wish it would focus. Oh, please focus. I get him. Do. Focus. I have to do. Do I have to do the this thing for it to focus on this? Still just wants to focus on my hand. I don't know if you can see that, but oh, there it goes. There it is. The hellish little rubber ducky. Oh, I think that's so fucking cool. I love it. I love it. And then we've got the BDSM one, right? Little goth rubber duckies on the desk. A weirdo, I know. Those were, we got a package of, like, I think 9 or 10 of them for the baby when he's born. And I really like those two. And I'm like, I'm putting them on the desk. Those are mine. Stay with me. Uh, uh, so with there being a week that has passed since the last Satan and Coffee, I've been doing a lot of kind of contemplation on what this is all about. What is, and I figured, talking about this live made sense, right? But I've been sitting and I've been thinking, okay, so what are these shows about? Because for those of you that are regulars of the channel, you know that I do prefer live content over pre-recorded content. Though a lot of you have been requesting pre-recorded content, and I'm trying. I'm trying. My ADHD does, um, make it hard for pre-recorded content. Uh, live content is more of a promise to you guys, which helps me kind of stay in the swing of things, right? So there's like an expectation that, I'm going to be live. So it kind of allows me to force myself to get off my ass and live, right? And it's not to say that I'm lazy because I'm not. It's just to say that I have a hard time um, with tasks, and task paralysis is a thing. Um, and I'm not one for medication. I don't inherently believe in medication, but I am now on some ADHD medication. Um, Good old Ritalin. Um, uh, First dosage I took was yesterday. Second dosage I've taken today. Um, hadn't kicked in yet, but there will be signs. Uh, and I'm just hoping that it does help provide focus to allow me to do the things that I want to do, because there's so many things that I sit down every day and I say, I'm going to do this. And then I just don't, because there's so much of those things that I say, I'm going to do this to myself. And I find I have a hard time beginning the projects, right? So, anyway, over the last week, this week that, you know, we've had off from the show, and because of the construction going on in the house, and in the moments that I was able to think and power tools weren't going off and things weren't getting ripped up, right? Uh, Weird academic scholar in the corner, listening and learning. Excellent. Sounds amazing, Bjorn. Welcome. It's good to see you. Hail. So I've been thinking, what is this anyway? Like, what is this? What are we doing? Right? Like, aside from having fun and talking about the occult every morning and, all that stuff, what is this? Why did it start? Why why is there Satan and Coffee, Apocrypha, and Adversary of My Adversary? Why do these three shows exist? Well, the breakdown, essentially, Apocrypha is kind of like definitely community driven. It's something where we want everyone to kind of give their input and add their ideas and be part of the conversation. Adversary of My Adversary was an idea that Dyra and I came up with because we are adversarial to those that say that they're adversarial, but we find them to not be adversarial, that they're playing a role, and we wanted to make something to that effect and was a comment on that. And for the most part, I think we succeeded in that. However, because of, the pregnancy and things like that, that show has been kind of put on hold for the time being. So she's capable of, coming back, into the fold. Um, Samael, hallelujah. Um, and so Adversary of My Adversary is currently on hold. But Adversary of My Adversary also definitely has a political spin on it, which none of the other shows have, or this one. And Satan and Coffee. Like, what the hell is Satan and Coffee? Satan and Coffee was actually an idea um, that I started about 10 years ago. I don't know if you guys remember Mixer, right? Like the Microsoft run streaming platform. I don't know if you guys remember that platform. So, um, the original episodes of Satan and Coffee were actually on Mixer. Like the original, I think I started it maybe like 4 months before Mixer abruptly took a shit and died on everybody. And I can't remember how many episodes I did, but I ran across the whole start of this iteration of Satan and Coffee. Started because I was going through some old files, and you know, thank you, Bjorn. Thank you. I appreciate that. Um, and I found the old logo that I made for Satan and Coffee back then. Like, so we're talking, like I said, we're talking, I think it was about 10 years ago now. I'm pretty sure it was. I'm pretty sure it was. Like, I don't know off the top of my head. Like, if anybody has any info on that, um, you know, to correct me if I'm mistaken. Um, it was, let's see here. Shut down. 2020. So it's not 10 years ago, but about 5 years ago. It was July 22nd, 2020 is when it shut down. So about a few months before that. So, the beginning of 2020, so about 5 years ago, um, the idea for Satan and Coffee was, and all I had was a logo, and I did a couple of random episodes with no direction, no idea of what the hell it was going to be. And I don't think I ever actually, um, you know, solidified the idea of what it was going to be. But again, like I was going through my old designs, and I found the logo. I'm like, maybe it'd be a good idea to bring this back. And obviously I did, because, we're doing 3 episodes a week now. But the question remained, what is this? Right? Like, what's the point of Satan and Coffee? What's the expectation for Satan and Coffee? Like, what content can you guys expect from Satan and Coffee? Well, Satan and Coffee, the idea in its reincarnation, because I have no idea what the idea for it was when I first made it, but I do know what the idea is for it in its reincarnation, in this uh, stage of it, where Apocrypha and Adversary of My Adversary have co-hosts, and like I said, are very community driven. It isn't to say that Satan and Coffee isn't community driven. It most definitely is, but in a very different way. Satan and Coffee is my diary. It's my soapbox. It's the place where I can allow my ideas and thoughts and opinions to come out of my mouth unfettered, and without feeling like I need to water down what it is that I'm saying. And these are it's 100% my ideas. And so I guess that goes without saying then, that any views or opinions expressed on Satan and Coffee do not necessarily reflect those of anyone else on any other show that has to deal with me. But it certainly does allow me the ability to express things that I normally may avoid. Give me all the opinions, yes. Uh, it allows me the ability to express things that I may normally avoid on other shows, because of my co-hosts, and not necessarily because they can't handle it or anything like that. But these are hour-long shows, right? At most. So what inevitably ends up happening is, um, time does not allot for me to rant, like a psychopath, um, on the other shows, right? Because other people need to talk. And here, and it's only me for an hour straight. You get to listen to me just go in on it. So I've never been one for structure, um, in the sense of rigidly trying to set a show up and giving it a gimmick. Podcasts that I listen to very rarely ever actually have, more structure out than outside of like a base idea. Like, this is like the concept and idea that we're talking about today. And then what happens is what happens, right? Like, there's just this natural progression of conversation that happens, with their guests or whatever. And I've always appreciated the, that unfiltered conversational structure in, um uh-huh, exactly. That's exactly what it is, Bjorn. It's exactly what it is. And so I've always liked the podcasts that have more of a conversational tone to it rather than this. We're going to do this segment. We're going to do this segment, because they try to set it up like, like a TV show. And I've always thought that a podcast is a rare opportunity for somebody to have, like, not just the audience, but the hosts themselves to have a conversation that isn't scripted. Now I don't script anything at all. Okay, this thing's having a hard time focusing on my face. Focus. Um, I don't script anything. I don't know if you can tell, uh, but I don't believe in scripts, and it just feels unnatural. Like, I'll write ideas down. Like, I'll write like little micro points. Like, okay, this is something, like, so I don't forget it. Like, okay, this is something I want to talk about, and then I just rant about it. Right. So I mean, I have like a breakdown, like for today's show, that I did, and you know, am I following that breakdown? No. Have I talked about a few things that are in the breakdown? Yeah. And that's just me. That's just how I do things. Um, so it's not, Satan and Coffee isn't inherently a spiritual podcast, though it is. I don't want to limit it to just talking about the occult and just talking about spirituality, but just talking about shit that irritates the fuck out of me in general. And talking about things that I love and I enjoy. Just kind of going through, that whole process of talking about everything, anything and everything. Right. So who am I? Yes, this is going to be one of those shows. So I'm sorry. Like we talked about what Satan and Coffee is. Now we got to talk about who I am. If most of you don't fucking know already, which I'm pretty sure you do, but for those in the back that haven't been paying attention, we're going to go through who I am anyway. I go by Adius Dade. Right? What is Adius Dade? Adius is Latin for malice, and Dade, which is technically supposed to be pronounced Dade, what I refuse to pronounce it that way because it opened too many doors to the possibility for people to start calling me Malice Daddy or just Daddy, because it sounds like a very weird pronunciation for Daddy, Dade. Um, but um, essentially, Dade is like, it means kind of like of the dark one. And so Addy is Dade, right? Is, if you translate it from Latin, means malice of the dark one. And so, Il Padre. Evie, welcome, welcome, welcome. And so, why did I go from Mr. Malice to Addy's Dade? Well, Mr. Malice felt like a personification. Mr. Malice felt too playful. Though I've had a lot of compliments on being able to lock in that name in most platforms, like being the Mr. Malice. Um, it was, it felt like it was missing something, right? Like Mr. Malice didn't feel like it was me. Like there's a part of me in it, and I really did appreciate that for that one platform, right? Um, so yeah, like I think, yeah, there's like one platform that I couldn't lock in Mr. Malice, and I had to do like a bunch of weird fucking variations with the name to make it work. But I had it locked in on YouTube. I had it locked in on Instagram. I had it locked in on TikTok. I had it, locked in on most social platforms. But again, it was something that people wanted to call themselves. Like, so there's a lot of people using Mr. Malice because they just thought it was cool, right? There's a sound to it, and I was like, I still want to be Malice, and I'll explain where the whole Malice thing comes from, in a second. but I wanted something that could be me. Like whatever my government name is, it doesn't matter. Though I do honor my government name because it was a name that my mother gave to me, and I love my mother. I do, and Mom, if you're watching this, I love you. She's still among the living, so you know. Um, yeah, so I do like this is me for better or worse. Exactly. So I honor my government name, and I will never actually legally change my name because it's the name that my mother gave to me. And I'm not going to go down the line of bullshit that most people say, where it's like they attribute their government name to some type of governmental control, completely ignoring the fact that their family gave it to them because, there was just like there's love. There was love there, right? Most parents name their children because, there's love. But because we lived in a fucked up society, using my government name online is not a smart idea, which is I think is absolutely ridiculous for like Instagram, for example, like for with Meta, like the only way that you can get verified is if you use your government name, and I'm like, yeah, fuck that. So uh, aesthetic only at first. No, 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 no. Um, and so the whole malice thing, there's a trope in 90s, late 90s, early 2000s, like metal, and alternative music. This idea that and I think Slipknot definitely dived into this quite a bit, and I think Manson kind of touched on it a bit. So did Trent Reznor of Nine Inch Nails. This idea that most of us are created by the hands of society, that's like stick themselves in, interject themselves into our lives, and try to mold us into something that they view as being acceptable inside of societal norms. And I think what really concreted it for me was in a Slipknot. There's a Slipknot song that says, "You cannot kill what you did not create." Right. And so I sat there for many months and years thinking, what am I? Like I was asking the philosophical question, right? That I think we all eventually at some point reach the brink of psychosis asking ourselves, which is, who the fuck am I? Who am I? Right? Like what is the answer to that question? And I've answered this question once before in the context of the occult on here, but the answer remains the same regardless of what we're talking about. Is I am who I am, because who I am is such a complex beast of so many things, a combination, of figures always get non-English variants and just linguistics. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Um, And so I was like, okay, I am who I am, but who am I? Because, like, I mean, we are all very complex creatures, right? We're never, um, we're never going to be able to answer that fucking question. If you think you do, then I honestly think you need to re-examine, because, I'm not a metalhead. I mean, though it's part of who I am, but it's not who I am. I'm an artist, but that's not who I am. I'm a systems engineer, but that's also not who I am. That's a job title. I'm an occultist, but that's not who I am. It's something that I do. So with each thing that you can sit there and you can say, well, I am this, that one thing does not encompass everything that is you, right? I'm a father, I'm a husband, I'm a brother, I'm a son, I'm a nephew, an artist, an occultist, a metalhead, a goth, podcast host, a content creator, a systems engineer, an English teacher. So I'm all of these things, but not one thing that I just mentioned truly actually defines me. We're getting to the point, I promise. So malice. Malice, the definition of malice is intention to cause harm, right? Malicious intent, right? Right. To be malicious is to have the intention to cause harm. So to call myself Mr. Malice, I knew that people were going to inevitably misconstrue the name. And there's so many people that I've had online say that why would you want to call yourself Malice? Why would you want to associate yourself with malicious intent, with wanting to cause harm? And it's quite the opposite, actually. It's more the irony of the statement, because anyone that comes into this community can very blatantly and clearly see I'm a very open-minded and accepting individual of anyone that comes into, you know, this program, or any program that I do, or any of my comment sections, so long as you don't come in, hot-headed and stupid. I'll entertain a conversation with you. Anyone, doesn't matter. And so it was more kind of like an ironic statement that my life growing up was not easy, as many people's lives growing up wasn't easy for different reasons. And we're not going to get into the details of what made my life not easy. I've done that before and I don't feel like doing it again. But growing up, my life wasn't easy. For me, went through hell and I came back out on the other side of it. And then I went through it about 3 other times in my life. Sometimes it was my fault, sometimes it wasn't. And I feel like because of everything that I went through, because of everything that I endured, the tropes of society would dictate that I should be an evil person. And believe it or not, I've actually had therapists and psychologists when I was a kid, when I would tell them the things that I've dealt with, turn around and say, wow, I'm proud of you for not being a serial killer. And like, to be honest, to this day, I'm not sure how to take that. I'm not sure how to process that statement. I've had that said to me 3 times by mental health professionals. The 3 very specific moments in my life, at different stages of my life, I have had 3 mental health professionals literally tell me that they were proud of me for not being a serial killer, or that, wow, I'm surprised that you're not one. So I'm not 100% sure on how to take that. I don't know if it's a compliment, an insult, a combination of both. I'm not sure. But that kind of ingrained into me the expectation that society has for people like me, for people that not just have gone through what I've gone through, but the people that only see the aesthetic, that only see the black nails and the piercings and the tattoos and the rings and the occult aspect of things. And so many of those people have a preconceived notion of who or what I am based on those things. And that's fine. I don't feel uncomfortable in my own skin. I dress this way because I'm comfortable dressing this way. And I'm going to be 75, 80 years old, piercings and tats, still dressed in black. I don't see myself dumbing it down at all. So, yeah, it's definitely something that's still going to be a part of me. But anyway, society has this preconceived notion for people that look like me, and apparently for people that have gone through the things that I've gone through. And so that got me thinking, Society thinks that I am malicious. Society thinks that I am evil. Society thinks I'm a danger. Society thinks that I am incapable of being a part of it, that I am incapable of providing to it, of being a productive member of it. And so Mr. Malice was a comment on what society thought I am. And what Mr. Malice actually is simply saying, I am whatever you need me to be. I am whatever you want me to be. Because you're not going to look any deeper than the name and the aesthetic, are you? That's the only thing you're going to look at. That's the only thing you're going to see. That's the only thing that you're going to pay attention to, much like the Christians on TikTok and Instagram that flood my comment sections with Jesus is king and Jesus loves you and come to God and you're going to burn in hell and you're this. You don't see past what's in front of your face. You cannot see the forest for the trees. And that's fine. So what or who is Adius Dade? Adius Dade is the final form, I suppose, for Mr. Malice. Adius Dade is a full name. It's not just a personification. It's not just an idea. I am my government name, but I also am Adius Dade. I am the malice of the Dark One. I am the Dark One. Not because I'm an edgelord and because I think I have super mystical magical powers, but I am the Dark One because that is what society says that I am. Because they have proven time and time again that they are incapable of seeing past their own noses. They can't smell their own shit on their knees. And so that is what, or who rather, Adius Dade is. I am Adius Dade. It is the ultimate evolutionary step for Mr. Malice. And from a branding standpoint, it's also the ultimate step, the last step in a long line of rebrands that I've done. So, let's see. I'm very open-minded indeed, especially amongst Abrahamic practitioners in the States. I've met a lot of American Abrahamists who lack quality and notion of good and evil is ingrained in Western society. This was not a notion of in pre-Abrahamic cultures and societies, or rather structures predating these more modern concepts. Names we choose for ourselves, and those may never fully understand. Yeah, exactly. So then, how does this? What does all this mean? Like, what does this episode mean going forward? Right? Like, what's the point of talking about all of this? I feel like there's a lot of guesswork that goes into online personas. right? So most people want to pick a fun name that, you know, means something to them that other people can relate to. So they can, get the numbers. Do I want numbers? I mean, it's a lie if you say you don't. If you're an online creator and you say that you're doing it because you don't want numbers and you're full of shit. Um, so yeah, do I want numbers? Of course I do. Is that a focus? No. No, it's not. What what this means is with this is I'm not trying to be relatable. I'm not trying to be understood. I'm not looking for approval. I'm not looking for validation. I'm not looking for, a pat on the back. If you like my content and if you like me, cool. If you don't, I don't care. I really don't. Like, I feel like I'm one of the very few people that actually say that and mean it. I've never filtered myself for anyone or anything. I'm not about to start to filter myself for anyone or anything. It was one of the things when I sit there and I say that, I'm a patriot and I love my country, and I do say that quite often. And I say that in regards to the people of the United States of America, because I believe that my people is what comprises my country. But the United States is an idea, it's an abstract thing. I mean, yeah, it's a physical entity as well, but I mean, the thing that people are patriotic to, the thing that people believe in, it's an idea, it's a concept, it's an abstract emotional response. And so, why am I a patriot? I'm a patriot because I do believe that every single human being on this planet should have the ability to do what it is that I am doing right now and not give a shit what anyone else fucking thinks about it. You should not feel like you need to filter your thoughts and your ideas because somebody else might disagree with you. Now, are there some absolutes that might make you a dick? Yep. We're not going to get into those because I don't think we have to. I think that, most of us can sit here and kind of like in our, our head, sit there and say, yeah, that person's a piece of shit, and that's fine. I would like to know who the pieces of shit are. So let them speak their mind, right? And I know some people would disagree with that because they want to label certain things hate speech or this, that, and the next thing. And it's like, well, let the hateful sons of bitches fucking say hateful shit. So at least you know who these pieces of shit are. Now, inevitably, people turn around and say, well, no, because it's going to hurt somebody's feelings. Well, here's the thing. There's one thing that I can agree with, across the board. It doesn't matter if something I say hurts your feelings. Your feelings are not my responsibility. They never have been. And just like my feelings aren't your responsibility. If you're going to say something that's going to piss me off, it's not your fault that I'm pissed off. Those are my emotions. That's something I need to deal with. So if I say something that pisses somebody off, I don't fucking care. And the only country that I can think of that, in the basis of its legal system, affords people the inalienable right to be a dick is the United States. And so that's why I'm a patriot. I believe in freedom of speech. I believe in freedom of expression. I believe in freedom of religion. I believe that everyone should have the ability to do this. I believe that everyone should have the ability to express their thoughts and their ideas how they see fit. And if you are a piece of shit, then you're a piece of shit. And I have another wonderful right, and is the right to not associate with you or speak to you if I think that you're a piece of shit. Just like if anyone is on this channel and they don't like anything that I have to say, they don't like the fact that, I work with demons, they don't like the fact that I believe in Baphomet as an actual entity, or that, I believe in worship and give reference to Lucifer. If anyone doesn't like that, You don't have to watch my shit. For the Christians that come in here and constantly come in and Christ is King, you're not doing anything. You go in and you say these things, you're not doing anything. You're not going to change my mind. I'm not going to find Christ. I'm not going to go to church with you and sing fucking Kumbaya. It's not going to happen. I am Adius Dade. I am Mr. Malice. And I am these things because this is what you believe me to be. I will have an intelligent conversation with you. I will debate things with you, if not for any other reason than to learn your position, to understand your side more, and find the links, the weak links in my arguments, to revisit them and make them stronger. But I feel like society is, because of the internet and the anonymity that is provided to people because of the internet, have become significantly more brazen in the stupidity that they spread online. Because I'm sorry, I am one of those people that, like, and I know Mystic, my brother, and I do call him my brother, like he is family, Mystic is family. I know that he disagrees with this statement, but I fully believe this. I'm one of those people that I believe that if you're not going to say, if you do not have the gall or bravery to say something to somebody's face that you would say online, you probably shouldn't be saying it online, because I am one of those people that believe that you fuck around and you find out. You go to somebody, you say some stupid shit to their face, you get laid the fuck out. That's it. You fuck around, you find out. Like, I think that one of the biggest problems with today's generation is some people need the shit kicked out of them. Like, I mean, that's just, you know, how I think about things. I know there are people that are going to be like, there's no excuse for physical violence. And I was like, yes, there is. Yes, there is. It teaches people fucking survival instincts. It does, right? Um, at least, the very least, fucking verbal survival instincts. Exactly. The threat for being punched in the face for insulting someone is missing online. Exactly. Exactly. You know, and it just kind of is what it is, right? I mean, I grew up, I think I was the last generation to grow up. Like, we had the internet, but we still had social interaction outside, much like Gen X did. And we still had the fuck around and find out culture. Like, when I was growing up, yeah, that we had, you know, like AOL and AIM and MSN Messenger, and, you know, YouTube was just starting out and shit, and we had MySpace, and, you know, there was online profiles and shit. But, you know, there was still, you know, that aspect of things that if you popped off and you said something stupid, you know, somebody was at the very least going to smack you in the back of the fucking head and be like, what the fuck is wrong with you? So persona is the exact opposite of how a motherfucker is IRL. Yeah, I mean, unfortunately. But the thing was, is like, I wanted something that was me, a name that was me, that was my name. I chose it, Adius Dade. And I don't come online, I'm not making something just for you guys. This is me. If you like it and you follow it, cool. If you don't like it and you don't follow it, fine. So, anyway, we've been going for about an hour now. So, to end this out, what are we going to be expecting from Apocrypha, Satan and Coffee, and Adversary of My Adversary? Can we expect pre-recorded videos? Pre-recorded videos, sure. I'm not going to promise you a timeline because I don't fucking know. It really kind of depends on how, you know, the Ritalin affects me, and if it does actually help me kind of focus. Like I said, my first dosage was yesterday, and I was wired. Grant you, I took it without eating. I ate this morning. I ate a slice of leftover pizza. because I'm just so healthy. Uh, um, it was supreme, but stuffed crust supreme. Good stuff. But yeah, I ate a slice of leftover pizza with queso and jalapeno sauce before I took my Ritalin because I feel like it hit me so hard yesterday because I didn't eat. So I ate. I also made sure that my water is full because I didn't drink any water yesterday because that shit had me wired. And then by the end of the day, like my head hurt, my body hurt. I had body aches all over the place. And I'm like, this is like, I feel like I'm hungover. Not fun. Not fun. I'm not sure if anybody online has ever talked about this and how Ritalin affects you, but that was a thing. That was a thing. And it was not fun. It was not fun. So I took some magnesium along with my normal daily vitamin. So apparently magnesium helps with the body aches after the fact. I make sure I have 1.5 liters of water sitting next to me. So I'm gonna need to make sure that I drink that throughout the day. So hopefully, I keep hydrated. I ate before I took the pill, so hopefully it doesn't hit me as hard as it hit me yesterday because yesterday I was kind of like, ooh, I was live yesterday, guys. Um, Again, I'm not one for medication, but with the level of my ADHD, um, and talking to a psychiatrist, I do believe that medication is something that I need because I do have what's called combined presenting severe ADHD. So there's like two different ways that ADHD usually presents. And unfortunately, I present with a combination of both types at a severe level. And so the hope is that the Ritalin is going to, afford me enough focus. It's a slow release Ritalin tablet. So it's hopefully it affords me enough focus to do the things that, right? Well, hey, I'm trying, man. I'm trying. I'm nervous. I'm nervous about taking this stuff. Like I said, I'm not a fan of drugs, but you know, um, admitting that you need help with something is extremely important. Um, yeah, I do believe that that's another thing that I need to get into as well. I need to go back to the gym, which is probably something I'm thinking I might start this week. There's a gym like right around the corner from my house, so I might, you know, pop in there after work and give that a go. Because I miss the gym. I miss the gym. I remember a couple of weeks ago, Dyer and I went to the a grocery store, and in their athletic section, they had weights, and I just picked up a barbell and started curling it. I'm like, oh, that feels so good. Uh, so, um, I definitely need to get back to the gym. So anyway, continuing back on what to expect from everything, not just Satan and coffee, but everything. Expect Apocrypha to stay Apocrypha. I think that Apocrypha is what it needs to be for now. I don't see it a necessity to change anything. Um, it is very much a community show. It is also now apparently an occult couple show because most episodes include myself and Dyra, and not just Mystic, but Brooke and Mystic, which I think is an amazing dynamic to have the four of us on that show. I think that it is exactly where it needs to be with Apocrypha. And I'm very proud of Apocrypha. Um, my adversary, like I said, that's still on hold. It's not canceled, but asking Dyra to do 2 shows a week is just too much. Um, she's in her third trimester. We've got, baby coming in about 7 to 8 weeks. So that is on hold, but it will be coming back. Just have to, you know, Apocrypha is going to stay the same as it always does. Saturdays at 6 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, which I think is 7 p.m. for Mystic. I think Central. I think it's 7 p.m. Central. I think. I mean, I don't know, man. Like time zones are fucking crazy, and they still confuse the shit out of me, even though I live abroad. And especially because like living in Mexico, like they don't change the time here. So it changes in the States, but it doesn't change here. So like my schedule changes when shit changes in the States. So like currently, like I'm in Mountain Standard Time, like I line up with Mountain Standard Time. So it's 6 p.m. Mountain Standard. But then when the clocks change for you guys in the States, they don't change for me, so it becomes 7 p.m., I think. Yeah, 7 p.m. because that means I'd be getting off at work at 6. So yeah, it changes to 7 p.m. So for me, but like if you go Mountain Standard Time, currently it's 6 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, and the Eastern Pacific. I don't know. But it's still going to stay on Saturdays. Adversary when it comes back will probably also be on Saturdays because one of the things that Tyra and I want to try to do is we want to try to keep Sundays like free of everything except for the Sunday Satan and Coffee, which is like a staple. Like Sunday, like Satan and Coffee Sundays is Black Mass Sunday. So that's never going to change. Satan and Coffee will stay Wednesdays and Fridays, 6:30 a.m. Mountain Standard, and Sundays at 10 a.m. Mountain Standard. So that's the schedules. Now, as far as like content's concerned, like I said, Apocrypha I think is going to stay exactly how it is. Adversary still on hold until further notice. It'll probably come back after the baby is born. And once we have kind of like a vibe and a feel for like when he's taking naps and stuff like that, and when we'll be able to actually, do the show together, because I mean, it's just us, right? So it's not like we have somebody to watch the baby. Also, I'm just going to be upfront with you guys. Do not expect photos of the baby. We also have decided, I think I might have mentioned the name in the past, but a he. Yes, it is a he. I will say that is a boy, but there will be no photos of our child online. So don't expect that. Don't ask for it. Just putting that out there. We're not putting our kid's face out on the internet at all. So anyone out there thinking of asking, don't ask. When it comes to his name, we've decided not to also not refer to his name online. So that's another thing. So he will forever be referred to as the baby. That's it. So I'm just putting that out there because I know that there are going to be people that are inevitably going to ask, and it's not going to happen. I'm not going to do it. So, no, baby. Yeah, exactly. that is what he will forever be referred to as online. I mean, for those that know, I also have an 11-year-old son. So, I mean, I might just go with thing one and thing two, right? Thing one being first son, thing two being second son. So, thing one and thing two. Uh, so, like just to kind of like break it up so you guys know which one I'm talking about. Um, for those that don't know, that's a Dr. Seuss reference. But yeah, might do that. And as far as Satan and Coffee is concerned, I will be introducing a little bit more structure. Satan and Coffee, I'm going to give it sections. Each of those sections are going to be free flowing, but it's just to kind of give me kind of like a timing thing to go through it and give you guys something to look forward to. Right? So what I'm looking at is the names of the sections, and I do want your opinions on this. So if you're watching it to this point, I want you to leave your opinion about the names of the sections in the comments. And also, if you have any ideas of anything that you would like to see added to Satan and Coffee, or you'd like me to talk about during Satan and Coffee, you feel free to add it. But the sections that I have coming off the top of my, it is a project. It is, because once you think you understand what's going on, shit changes. Like, it is an inevitability. The moment you're like, yeah, I got this down, something else interjects. You're like, what the fuck? Um, but it's fulfilling and I love it. So, opening section for Satan and Coffee, black coffee. Of course, right? And there had to be a coffee reference, right? So, even though I rarely ever drink black coffee, as I either have um, hazelnut, which is my normal, or what I got today, which is pumpkin spice in the jack-o'-lantern mug. So, which unfortunately, because this mug is so big, my coffee is now cold. So, yeah. So that's the first section. The opening section of Satan and Coffee, I'm thinking, is black coffee, right? So it's where kind of like there's like, the opening hook, and then there's like, a little bit of a rant, and then, yeah. Then doctrine and praxis, right, is the next section, right, which is usually the 20 to 25-minute section. Right? So that's where like the meat of the show is. Tools of the adversary is the third section. I wanted to add a section where I talk about tools, I talk about ritual practices, and I talk about experiences. So tools of the adversary is the third section. Okay. And then the fourth and final section of each show is something I want to call the Hellmouth. And the Hellmouth is the Q&A section. So Hellmouth, I want you guys to be prepared for this, right? So when you come into the show each day of the week, right? So Wednesdays, Fridays, and Sundays. I want to do a community section for each show because I want more interaction with you guys. I want to have a conversation with you guys more directly. Like, so if you guys have any super specific questions, like, because I know some people have questions during the show. Disciple, I'm talking to you. We love you. I know some people have questions that may or may not have anything to do with what we're talking about. So I wanted to add a section in the show dedicated for people to ask those random questions. And yeah, and if you have a question in the middle of the show, so this is something I'm going to set up here. So if in the middle of the show you have a question that may not have anything to do or closely relate to what we're talking about, ask the question with the prefix Hellmouth question. So that tells me in the chat, right, that I can ignore that for right now, but to come back to it at the end of the show when the Hellmouth section starts. And it'll be about a 10, 15-minute section, just answering your guys' questions and having a back and forth. Have like a whole interview of questions on LHP values. Why? Well, I mean, the Hellmouth section is going to be a perfect opportunity for it. I'm going to implement this structuring next episode. So today I'm going to be working on like kind of like the panels. So there's going to be scene switches. I mean, it's going to be the same fucking scene, right? Like this, but each time there's a section that changes and it switches up to what we're going to be doing in the show. Like there's just going to be a panel that comes up that says, hey, this is what we're doing now, right? So that way you guys are aware of each switch that happens while you're watching the show. So the end section is the Hellmouth section, and Hellmouth is your guys' questions for me, like anything. It can be anything, right? Doesn't matter how stupid, how crazy, how off base it is, right? If it's too personal, I will just tell you that's too personal. I'm not going to answer that. But that will be you will at least get that answer, right? So you're aware. The Q&A period will be good. There you go. There you go. Samael just locked it in. When you ask a question for Hellmouth, that is exactly how you need to put it in there. Hellmouth and then the pink creepy dinosaur fucking thing. So copy that and save that on a notepad somewhere so you can paste it in when you got a question in the middle of the show. Again, the Hellmouth question thing only needs to be added to a question if it's a question specifically for the end of the show. By the way, I think a video you talked about raising your children magical and kind of more intuitive in nature. This was an old video. Okay, that didn't work. Hellmouth face, fuchsia tongue out. That's good. So, yes, so the idea is with Dyra and I, um, called the sip would be the brew. Ooh, I like that, Evie. I like that. We can take that into consideration. Um, so with Dyra and I both being an occult, being occultists, it's obviously kind of impossible to not have some inclination of magical think in raising our child or our children. However, we do want to allow our children to make their own choices. So it is very important not to discuss specifics of occult practice or even lore with our children without them asking. And it's not to say that we're not going to raise them with morality and things like that. I don't think that you need to raise your kids with religion to inherently instill some kind of fucking morality into them. I actually think that that's a very bad idea. I think using religion as the moral blueprint for how you raise your kids is lazy. Because you're not raising your kids, you're letting doctrine, some type of doctrine, do it instead of you doing it yourself. So, raising our children, we have this idea that we are going to raise our children to be good people. That's the goal, for them to be good people. Whatever spiritual path they choose, Christian, Buddhist, Hindu, Jewish, Islamic, whatever, that's their choice. Are they inevitably going to see certain things in and around the house? Yeah. But they don't need details on it. And depending on, when and how they ask the questions, it's kind of something you kind of have to deal with, as it happens, right? As it kind of goes forward. But I don't want to raise my children on religion. I would like to include them into spirituality, introduce them to being spiritual, not religious, and just to be good, moral, upstanding people that do the right thing because it's the right thing to do, not because they're expecting something in return. Because unfortunately, religion, much like social media, teaches people to do the right thing because you get something in return. A Christian does the right thing because they want access to heaven. A content creator does the right thing because they want attention. And I want to raise my kids to do the right thing simply because it's the right thing, regardless of what people say or don't say about what it is that they're doing. So is it a task? It is, because society is is dopamine dependent. Everything we do because we're looking for the next dopamine hit. And so trying to raise kids not to be that way, it's hard. It's hard, which is also one of the reasons why we decided to homeschool. With our baby, like once it's time for him to start going to school and stuff like that, he will be homeschooled. There will be extracurricular activities, karate, swimming, whatever whatever types of clubs or interests that he may or may not have. Those things will be afforded and allow for social interaction with other kids and stuff like that. So we're not going to make our kid like void of social ability, but we find it a better idea to homeschool. So that's another thing that we're going to be doing. So, so there you go. Ooh, you look at Evie. Like Evie, you need to work in PR. Uh, brother, Stringer, practice very wrong. Yeah, exactly. So, thou shalt not be a shit fuck. Exactly. There knows a lot of my interests and beliefs. It is not religion, definitely spiritual. Yeah, 100%. 100%. There's nothing wrong with sharing spirituality within limit to like the age and the actual interest that the child has. I think, talking about your spirituality to your child without them explicitly asking a question is indoctrination. And, I want to avoid any type of indoctrination to anything. Right. So, anyway, guys, Disciple, look, there he is. How's it going? See you. Um, we want you to know we love and appreciate your support, man. I have always said she can decide what she believes. Good luck with your plans. Thank you, Disciple. Thank you. Greatly appreciate it. You've been rather quiet today. So anyway, moving forward, I have to go to work, guys. I got 5 minutes to be in work. So this went a little over. But I thank you guys for listening to today's weird show. Hopefully, if you had any questions about who or what it is that I am or why it is that I do what I do, I do hope that this show answered some of those questions. And if you have any more, feel free to ask them in the comment section, in the community section, wherever, right? And I will see you guys on Friday, right? You guys are fucking amazing. I love your faces. You're the reason I do this. And as always, hail thy fucking self. See you in the next one. Peace the fuck out.